With each footprint left behind, the ground trembled slightly. As the gray mist spread, a sword-like aura suddenly whistled out, its target not the two Grand Luo Sword sect elders, but Lu Songyi, the spirit transformation cultivator, who was attempting to seize the glowing gold fruit. Lu Songyi's face changed drastically. He knew there was no time to retreat, so without hesitation, he instantly activated his teleportation. Although teleportation was highly dangerous within the northern demon territory, he had no other choice. Around his body, ripples of distorted space appeared, and his figure was about to vanish. However, within the approaching gray mist, a cold snort sounded. At the sound of the snort, the gray mist suddenly closed in, directly piercing through the distorted space and breaking the void. In the blink of an eye, it entered Lu Songyi's body, just as he was about to teleport away. You. Lu Songyi's face turned pale, and he was about to speak, but at that moment, his body swayed as if it were a ball, expanding rapidly. This scene was too bizarre. Lu Songyi's body swelled to its limit in an instant. Then, with a loud bang, the Grand Luo Sword sect spirit transformation cultivator was torn apart in a shocking explosion. The echoes of the explosion still reverberated in the valley as chunks of flesh rained down from the sky, splattering across the ground. A faint blood mist gradually spread around. In this blood mist, a figure dressed in purple slowly walked into the valley from outside. The person had long hair casually hanging behind his head. His face was not handsome, but there was a certain charm about him. On his right hand, two wisps of gray mist twisted like small dragons, weaving and swirling between his fingers. Hanging from his waist was a purple token with the character 7 engraved on it. Wong Lin's appearance brought silence to the valley. Guoxingyi's face turned ashen, drained of all color. His body trembled slightly, his right hand gripping his flying sword so tightly that his fingers turned white without him noticing. His junior sister's face showed panic. Unable to hold herself any longer, she covered her mouth, crouched down, and vomited. Her face was as pale as paper. As for the young man in blue, who clearly wasn't a disciple of the Grand Luo Sword sect, he looked intoxicated, even deeply inhaling the bloody mist. Aside from the three of them, the woman called Qian Qin showed an expression of indecision, her eyes full of hesitation and struggle. These younger disciples, lacking cultivation and composure, were naturally inferior to Shi Fang and the Short Elder. Though the two of them were greatly shaken and silently cursed their luck, their faces betrayed no obvious signs of distress, only a grim expression. Wong Lin's expression remained calm as his gaze swept across the crowd. Then, with what seemed like a casual motion, he pointed into the air. Immediately, gray mist began to slowly drift out of the ground's scattered flesh and rapidly gathered together. It formed a large mass of gray mist, swirling towards Wong Lin's pointed right hand. The gray mist gathered quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it transformed into a gray ball. Within the ball, swirling clouds gave off a strange aura, as though it contained some mysterious substance. Anyone who looked at it would be irresistibly drawn into it, losing themselves completely. Wong Lin's gaze remained indifferent. With a casual squeeze of his right hand, the gray ball suddenly vibrated from within. Under this wave, the ball shrank, eventually becoming the size of a fingernail, which Wong Lin caught in his palm. When he opened his hand, the small ball had vanished without a trace. Tianyun's sect, 7th disciple of the purple lineage, Wong Lin. Elder Shi Fang of the Grand Luo Sword sect's gaze flickered briefly at the purple token on Wong Lin's waist. Then, focusing on Wong Lin, he spoke slowly, word by word. Wong Lin retracted his hand and coldly glanced at Shi Fang before saying, "Answer me one question, and today, I'll let you leave." Shi Fang laughed as if he had heard the greatest joke. He made a hand sign and pointed to the sky. Suddenly, a powerful sword aura flashed from the empty sword sheath on his back. The sword aura was green and shot straight into the sky. "Wong Lin, though you're in the mid-infant metamorphosis stage, today, with both of us at the early infant metamorphosis stage, plus my Grand Luo Sword sect sword treasure, even if you manage to kill us, you'll definitely be injured. Then, half a month later, when the Eastern Sea Demon Spirit Gate opens, I'll see how you make it there." Shi Fang sneered. He had heard of the list of participants heading to the Eastern Sea Demon Spirit Gate before coming. It was rumored that Wong Lin, a new disciple of Tianyun's sect from the purple lineage, would be one of the candidates. At this moment, seeing Wong Lin, he decided to take a gamble. He bet that Wong Lin wouldn't act rashly, fearing that their full counterattack would injure him, affecting his journey to the Eastern Sea. The Short Elder had remained silent since Wong Lin made his appearance, but his gaze was fixed intently on him. Upon hearing Shifang's words, his heart suddenly sank. Based on his observations, this person was not the type to waste time. Rather than engaging in pointless conversation, it would be better to act quickly and seize the opportunity. With his 2 early infant metamorphosis cultivation levels, the chances of defeating someone in the mid-infant metamorphosis stage were already slim. The short elder gritted his teeth, and without a second thought, his body suddenly moved. With a slap to his storage pouch, a blood-red flag appeared in his hand. As he shook it, a vast wave of blood-red energy surged from the flag and immediately enveloped his entire body. Die! The short elder shouted fiercely, his hands forming seals within the blood-red aura. He then slapped forward with a violent motion, instantly conjuring several enormous blood-red handprints. They filled the air with a pungent, bloody scent, hurtling straight toward Wong Lin. At the same time, he bit his tongue, spraying out a large mouthful of golden-tinted divine essence blood. As the blood appeared, he quickly began chanting a spell. The words sounded like a ghostly wail, incomprehensible, yet there was a formless power, as if something was descending from the heavens. Heaven Ghost Devour. With the chant, the short elder's eyes flashed with a dark gleam. A large amount of his golden-tinted divine essence blood began to writhe and vanish into thin air. In that instant, a phantom head, 10 zhang in size, materialized behind the short elder. The head was huge, pitch black in color, with no hair on its top, resembling a terrifying demon. Its eyes, though ethereal, seemed almost real, emitting a chilling, cold light. The head let out a roar and shot toward Wong Lin, as if it was alive. Attack! The short elder yelled. Shifang gritted his teeth and without hesitation made a seal with his right hand, slashing downward. A brilliant green sword light immediately erupted from the sheath behind him, creating a shockwave of sword energy that tore through the air like a fierce green dragon, rushing toward Wong Lin. Despite this, Shifang still felt the odds were slim. He bit his tongue again, spitting out more divine essence blood. Then, he sat cross-legged on the ground, his right hand swiping through his blood and pulling it to his palm. With a low growl, he slammed it against his forehead. A thunderous boom sounded, and Shifang's body trembled as a flash of green light flickered from the top of his head. His essence spirit separated from his body, and as his mouth opened, a brilliant green beam shot out, transforming into a small flying sword about the size of a finger. His essence spirit gathered onto the sword, chasing the previously launched sword energy and darting toward Wong Lin like a lightning bolt. Die! These 2 early infant metamorphosis elders from the Great Luo Sword sect were now fighting for their lives. Wong Lin's expression remained calm. He stood still, his gaze unchanged. Stepping forward, his right hand lifted and pressed into the air. Immediately, black energy surged around his thumb. Annihilation finger. With a single finger, life and death were sealed. Under the influence of this finger, all the weeds in the valley withered instantly. Even the leaves that had already withered crumbled to pieces in the blink of an eye. This collapse was not just surface level, it spread deep into the roots beneath the soil, causing them to disintegrate. The first few blood-red handprints, which had been falling toward Wong Lin, landed directly on his thumb. Without hesitation, each of the blood-red handprints shattered into fragments, crumbling away. But this was not the end. The fragments, which would have normally fallen apart, were instead drawn back by the strange power of the Annihilation finger. They reversed direction and gathered once more onto Wong Lin's thumb. The entire process happened so quickly that, to onlookers, it appeared as though Wong Lin's thumb had absorbed all the handprints, with the blood-red color growing even darker. After absorbing the blood power, Wong Lin's eyes gleamed coldly. His thumb did not stop. Instead, it accelerated, bypassing Shifang's sword energy to directly strike the center of the enormous, eerie ghost head's forehead. The ghost head's eyes flashed with a strange light, and as Wong Lin's thumb approached, it opened its mouth wide and swallowed his thumb whole. Eh? Wong Lin's eyes lit up, and a smile played at the corner of his mouth. He softly murmured, "Since you want to devour it, then eat your fill." As he spoke, his thumb suddenly glowed red, and all the blood energy absorbed from the handprints was poured into the ghost head. At the same time, the extinction aura within the Annihilation finger surged into the head, intensifying the destructive force. The ghostly head immediately swelled, emitting a faint wail, before it suddenly retreated in panic. However, before it could even move 3 zhang away, a violent tremor caused it to explode with a deafening crash, completely collapsing. The short elder's life-bound soul technique was destroyed, his face instantly paling. He staggered and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, his eyes filled with horror. Without a word, he turned and fled. He was terrified. This Heaven Ghost Devourer art, he had once used it when fighting an immortal cultivator in the mid-infant metamorphosis stage. Although that immortal cultivator had eventually cracked the technique, the process had been extremely dangerous, nowhere near as effortless as Wong Lin made it seem. How could he not run? Grandson, don't run. Your grandpa Su wants to play with you. Su Ligua's voice echoed from within the immortal sword, and at that instant, the curved blade, which had always been by his side in the storage pouch, shot out and went straight after the short elder from the Great Luo Sword sect. Everything happened so fast. In the blink of an eye, Wong Lin broke the blood handprint, destroyed the ghostly head, and sent the short elder fleeing for his life. At that moment, Shifang's sword light was quickly approaching, heading straight toward Wong Lin. Wong Lin turned, his eyes sharp as he saw, behind the sword light, Shifang's essence spirit leaving his body and condensing into the willow leaf flying sword. His expression remained calm as his body stayed still, raising his left hand. Immediately, a surge of golden immortal power spread out, enveloping the valley in an instant. At the same time, his left hand glowed like the blazing sun, emitting a golden light. A golden vortex formed in the palm of his hand, condensing into shape in the blink of an eye. Fourth revolution, golden immortal power. Wong Lin muttered softly, and with a flick of his left hand, he struck the air. A deafening rumble sounded as the golden vortex in his palm erupted, directly clashing with the descending sword light. In that instant, the valley seemed to tremble, the earth splitting with deep cracks. Rocks from the surrounding cliffs fell in a cascade, and some areas even collapsed. Behind the sword light, Shifang's essence spirit, having merged with the willow leaf flying sword, whistled through the air like lightning, heading straight for Wong Lin's forehead. Its speed was so fast that, even with Wong Lin's mid-infant metamorphosis cultivation, he didn't want to directly clash with someone who had integrated their essence spirit into their life-bound artifact. However, this was before he had the Kunji whip. Now, Wong Lin remained unfazed. The moment Shifang's essence spirit manifested, he immediately retreated, and at the same time, his right hand brushed his storage pouch, and a shadow shot out through the air. With a crisp snap, the oncoming willow leaf flying sword shuddered, as though caught by an immense force, its speed suddenly slowing. Another snap of the whip sounded, and the willow leaf flying sword let out a furious cry as a green flame formed on its surface. With a whoosh, it shot through the air, crossing the distance and appearing only 3 inches from Wong Lin's forehead. Oh, you're going all out. Wong Lin's eyes flickered. As he retreated, a whip shadow, faster than lightning, swung in front of him. With a series of sharp pops, the willow leaf flying sword emitted pitiful cries. Finally, black mist poured out, and its pursuit faltered. The sword's glow dimmed considerably. The black mist swirling around the willow leaf flying sword morphed into Shifang's form. He appeared extremely weak, as though a mere breeze could cause him to collapse. Shifang tried to return to his body, but Wong Lin wouldn't give him that chance. As his essence spirit retreated, Wong Lin's right hand shot forward, releasing a green light that didn't target Shifang's essence spirit, but rather his physical body. In the stunned gaze of Shifang's essence spirit, the green light suddenly transformed into a massive, ferocious beast. The most prominent feature of this beast was its enormous, sharp jaws. At that moment, the jaws rapidly descended from midair, aiming directly for Shifang's heavenly crown. With a swift strike, they tore through his flesh, plunging deep inside his body. With a single suck, the essence of his blood and flesh, along with the residual immortal power and everything else that could be devoured, was drained away in an instant. All that remained was a completely lifeless corpse. The willow leaf flying sword, now bearing Shifang's form, turned to look back, his eyes full of venom. Without saying a word, he flew straight towards a few younger cultivators nearby. There were 4 young cultivators, 2 males and 2 females. Shifang wasted no time, heading directly for Guoxinyi. Guoxinyi, confused, didn't have time to react to why the sect elder was coming straight for him. But before he could understand, his vision went dark, and a wound suddenly appeared on his forehead. It was the willow leaf flying sword, piercing through his skin. Guoxinyi shuddered, his eyes dimming. But almost instantly, they brightened again, though the brightness now carried an overwhelming sense of weakness. Wong Lin's gaze sharpened as he looked at everything in front of him, clearly intrigued. After all, soul seizing was never a simple matter. Even if Situnan were to perform soul seizing, it would take time to merge the 2 souls. But the situation before him was different. Shifang had seized the soul right in front of him and managed to maintain his sanity. He had almost completed the entire soul seizing process. This fact left Wong Lin somewhat astonished. The person whose soul had been seized, Guoxingyi, now appeared pale. He stared at Wong Lin and quickly said, "Friend Wang, today's actions were reckless on my part. If you let me go, I will teach you the forbidden technique for quick soul seizing. Furthermore, no one will ever know of today's events. I, Shifang, swear it on my life-bound soul." As he spoke, Shifang slapped his right hand behind him, and immediately, 3 figures, a man and 2 women, around him, apart from Qian, suddenly trembled and collapsed, dying on the spot. This girl, Qian, is still a virgin. Friend Wang, I have another divine ability that can heal wounds using the virgin's essence. If you let me go, I will also give you that. Shifang's heart raced as he glanced at Wong Lin, pushed into a corner, pleading in desperation. Upon hearing Shifang's words, Qian shivered, her gaze complex as she looked at Wong Lin. Biting her silver teeth, she immediately knelt down and whispered, "Senior, please kill this man and the elder from the Great Luo Sword sect. I have no way to repay you, but I am willing to serve you as an ox or a horse for the rest of my life." Shifang's face darkened, a murderous gleam flashing in his eyes. "Are you aware, 200 years ago, when Sword Venerable Ling Tianho returned from the Renegade Immortal world, did anything unusual happen?" Wong Lin's expression remained unchanged as he spoke slowly. 200 years ago. Shifang paused, thinking for a moment, before suddenly his eyes flashed with a sharp light. He stared at Wong Lin, exclaiming, "Could it be the sword soul you're referring to?" Wong Lin's gaze tightened, and he spoke coldly, "Tell me more." Shifang fell silent for a long time before he bitterly said, "This is only something I've heard of, not something I know in detail. But I've heard that when Sword Venerable returned 200 years ago, he was in an extremely pitiful state. Not long after, the Great Luo Sword sect became embroiled in a series of killings. Eventually, a sword soul appeared from nowhere, and it fought with Sword Venerable. Afterward, the sword soul disappeared without a trace, and its fate remains unknown." Wong Lin glanced at Shifang. This man was not telling the truth. "Imprint the method of your soul seizing into a jade slip, and give it to me," Wong Lin said flatly, his expression unchanged. Shifang looked up at Wong Lin and asked, "Will you let me go?" Wong Lin's cold gaze swept over him as he responded, "That depends on whether the jade slip is genuine or not." Shifang gritted his teeth, saying nothing more. He took out a jade slip and, along with the method of using a virgin to heal wounds, quickly imprinted it before tossing it toward Wong Lin. Wong Lin reached out and caught it, quickly scanning the contents with his divine sense. He ignored the virgin healing method and focused entirely on the soul-seizing technique. Shifang's eyes flickered, and without hesitation, he immediately turned and dashed toward the rear, attempting to flee the valley and escape. Wong Lin didn't even glance at him. With a subtle movement of his left hand, the gray mist that had been swirling around his fingers suddenly howled out, piercing the void and heading straight for Shifang. Shifang immediately noticed, turning around in a panic and shouting angrily, "Wong Lin, you are a reckless cultivator." His body flashed, and he attempted to teleport out of the valley. However, his body was still in a weakened state from just completing the soul seizing. He barely managed to channel his immortal energy, and the 2 gray wisps that had been speeding toward him suddenly accelerated at an unimaginable pace, directly reaching him in an instant. With his pupils constricting, Shifang's body trembled and froze. The 2 wisps of gray energy swiftly entered his body and began to circulate through his veins. 3 breaths later, there was a loud explosion. Shifang's body suddenly shattered into pieces, blood and flesh splattering down in all directions. Thin strands of gray energy seeped from the broken meat, quickly forming into a gray ball that flew to Wong Lin. Wong Lin raised his head, withdrawing his divine sense from the jade slip. This quick soul-seizing method has some value after all. Wong Lin put the jade slip away, his gaze drifting to the distance. Over there, the crescent blade and immortal sword were located, and the short elder from the Great Luo Sword sect was trapped, waiting for Wong Lin's questioning. Wong Lin didn't go to him immediately. Instead, he leisurely made his way to the west side of the valley, where a vast field of golden flowers bloomed. He crouched down, inspecting a few carefully before picking a glowing gold fruit and sniffing it. At that moment, the mosquito beast, which had just consumed Shifang's flesh, buzzed in the air, flapping its wings repeatedly, its eyes showing a hint of eagerness. Even the woman named Qian couldn't help but fix her gaze on the glowing gold fruit in Wong Lin's hand. She silently sighed in her heart, thinking how her sect had gone to great lengths to learn of its existence in this place. She hadn't expected to encounter someone from the Great Luo Sword sect. She thought everything was predetermined, but in the end, an earth-shattering change occurred, as if things had taken a 9-turn, 18-bend path. The sudden appearance of Wong Lin from the Tianyun sect's purple lineage seemed even more effortless and immediately altered everything. "Don't be in a hurry," Wong Lin spoke softly. Upon hearing this, the mosquito beast nodded repeatedly, its eyes revealing a hint of madness. Wong Lin held the glowing gold fruit and decided to first test if it could enhance the gold attribute of the heavenly reversal pearl. If it didn't, he would then feed it to the mosquito beast. The heavenly reversal pearl, after the battle at the Vermilion Bird Tomb, still had an incomplete gold attribute, lacking almost half. I was too impatient, Wong Lin thought to himself. Completing the heavenly reversal pearl's attributes is not something that's simple. After 700 years of cultivation, with my luck, I've only managed to make 4 attributes complete. Every time an attribute is perfected, it's fraught with dangers. This final gold attribute won't be any different. I just wonder if the golden spirit root will be useful. Wong Lin sighed inwardly, then reached out with his right hand and grasped the air. Instantly, about 1/3 of the glowing gold fruits beneath the golden flowers flew up into the air. The mosquito beast cheered and immediately inhaled, sucking all the fruits into its enormous mouth. At that moment, golden light erupted from its body. After 9 intense flashes, the light gradually returned to normal. Seeing the mosquito beast seemingly still unsatisfied, Wong Lin didn't pick any more fruits. Instead, he formed a seal with his right hand and cast a beam of spiritual light. This light landed on the large patch of golden flowers, causing them to glow with blinding golden radiance. Wong Lin's eyes flickered as he didn't retreat. Instead, he slapped his storage pouch, and a large handful of jade slips appeared in his hand. His eyes showed deep thought as he quickly carved runes onto each jade slip before placing them beside the golden flowers. The woman named Qian, who was not far away, stared intently at Wong Lin, a puzzled expression on her face. She didn't understand what he was doing. Why didn't he pick the glowing gold fruit? Instead, he was performing such strange actions, almost like he was setting up a formation. Could it be that some kind of formation is needed to harvest the glowing gold fruit? Qian thought, her confusion growing. After placing the last jade slip on the ground, Wang Lin's thoughtful expression cleared up, replaced with a hint of clarity. According to the memory of the ancient god 2C, the glowing gold fruit only forms the golden spirit root after its natural cycle ends, when it naturally withers. But right now, there's no time to wait. The cycle for it to form the golden spirit root can vary from a short time to several years. I can't afford to wait, so I'll have to use the method from 2C's memory as a compromise. However, the ancient god used demon beast bones to set up this formation, while I'm using jade slips. The effect might be somewhat lacking. Wong Lin felt helpless about this point. Given the ancient god's power, the materials used were naturally the best. Shaking his head slightly, Wong Lin raised his left hand and struck a very strange posture. This hand gesture was not a cultivator's seal, but a divine ability inherited from the memory of ancient god 2C, one that served as a catalyst for activating the formation. It was the key to opening the formation. Perish, Wong Lin silently chanted. As the incantation left his lips, a yellow light spread from the seal on his left hand, landing on a jade slip on the ground. The moment the yellow light touched the slip, a sharp, ear-piercing sound erupted. In the blink of an eye, the jade slip exploded with a loud bang. This scene made Wang Lin furrow his brow. Even Qian, far away, was startled. Although the jade slip exploded, the yellow light did not fade. Instead, it intensified. As the slip shattered, the yellow light shot out again and landed on another jade slip. Next came a series of continuous bang 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 sounds, as the yellow light made each jade slip crumble into dust upon contact. Wong Lin's brow furrowed even tighter. After several breaths, when the last jade slip shattered, the yellow light had turned golden, almost indistinguishable from the color of the golden flowers. The golden light enveloped the flowers, and to the naked eye, the flowers slowly shrank, as if wilting, gradually withering away. It wasn't just the flowers. Each of the glowing gold fruits also showed signs of cracking, slowly withering. Even the branches holding them seemed to be affected, as though being scorched by a blazing sun. Watching this, the mosquito beast in midair let out a series of mournful cries, its eyes filled with reluctance. If it weren't so attached to Wong Lin, it might have rushed down to snatch the fruits by now. As for Qian, who stood in the distance, her heart ached, and she stared intently at the withering glowing gold fruit. her heart bleeding with every passing second. In contrast, Wong Lin's expression remained unchanged, but his gaze grew heavy as he fixed his eyes on the withering glowing gold fruit, silent and still. The atmosphere in the entire valley grew tense and heavy. Not long after, the golden flowers all withered, but their decay wasn't blown away by the wind. Instead, they transformed into droplets of golden liquid, flowing down the branches and sinking deep into the ground. After the flowers, the glowing gold fruits followed suit, each one withering in the same manner, turning into golden liquid that merged into the earth. Next, the branches themselves began to wither. This entire process lasted for about half the time it takes to burn a stick of incense. After that, everything vanished without a trace, and the ground was left barren, empty as if it had been scrubbed clean. The mosquito beast let out a mournful cry, its head drooping as it drifted listlessly in midair. Wong Lin's eyes flashed as he moved to the spot where the glowing gold fruit had disappeared. After inspecting the area carefully, his eyes suddenly sparkled with a glint of light. He crouched down, his right hand slowly digging into the soil. After a moment, a smile tugged at the corner of his lips. As he lifted his hand, rays of light, as intense as the blazing sun, suddenly radiated from his palm. In his hand, there was a strange object resembling ginseng, about the size of a thumb, with 4 tendrils. The golden light on it was incredibly dense, and an aura of warmth seemed to envelop the air around it. 4-tendril golden spirit root. If it naturally contains such energy, it should have 5 tendrils or more. Wong Lin thought to himself. The mosquito beast, hovering in midair, was stunned, staring fixedly at the golden spirit root in Wong Lin's hand. The gleam in its eyes was unlike anything it had shown since its birth. Its gaze was filled with madness. As for Qian, her mouth hung open, staring blankly at the golden spirit root. Her mind was completely empty. At that moment, she truly understood that everything she had previously thought was a misunderstanding. The true use of the glowing gold fruit was, clearly, to harvest its root, just like Wong Lin was doing now. Wong Lin plucked one of the tendrils and placed it on his forehead. After a short moment, his expression shifted. This object did indeed have some effect, enhancing the heavenly reversal metal attribute. However, the increase was minuscule. Wong Lin calculated roughly in his mind that even if he fused the entire golden spirit root into the heavenly reversal technique, it would only improve by about 10%. He sighed inwardly and plucked another tendril, tossing it to the mosquito beast, which hovered in the air, its eyes nearly wild with desire but still restraining itself from charging down. The mosquito beast immediately let out a triumphant cheer, swiftly flying down to snatch the tendril. With a single gulp, it swallowed it whole. There were now only 2 tendrils left. After swallowing the tendril, the crazed look in the mosquito beast's eyes gradually faded. Its body shimmered with golden light, but unlike before, it didn't flicker out after a few moments. Instead, the light remained constant, growing brighter and faster. Gradually, the mosquito beast's wings shrank and retracted, its body condensing as the golden light enveloping it grew stronger and faster. Eventually, it formed a golden dome around the mosquito beast, completely surrounding it. Over time, the golden dome became clouded, obscuring the mosquito beast entirely, hiding it from view. Wong Lin's eyes flashed, and he forcibly sent his divine sense into the dome. After a brief scan, his eyes revealed a look of delight. This mosquito beast has swallowed so many treasures and is finally starting to evolve. When it emerges again, its strength should see a significant breakthrough. Wong Lin's right hand reached into the air and grabbed the golden light that surrounded the mosquito beast, pulling it into his storage pouch. After a moment of thought, he lightly tapped the pouch. Immediately, a streak of cyan light shot out. In midair, the cyan light transformed into a giant thunder frog, roughly the size of a small mountain. With a loud thud, it landed on the ground, its massive eyes gleaming lazily. However, as soon as the thunder frog noticed the golden spirit root in Wong Lin's hand, its laziness vanished, and its gaze turned sharp and focused. Wong Lin smiled slightly and snapped off another tendril, tossing it to the thunder frog. The thunder frog's stomach inflated as a streak of red lightning shot through the air. The tendril vanished without a trace, and the thunder frog's body reverberated with loud booming sounds, like rolling thunder. Eventually, its eyes closed, and a faint trace of exhaustion flickered across its features. Wong Lin waved his hand again, and the thunder frog was absorbed back into his storage pouch. He then turned his attention to the distant Qian, who had been watching all along. Upon sensing Wong Lin's gaze, Qian immediately trembled and hurriedly bowed, though she remained silent. "I am fortunate enough to acquire this golden spirit root," so I suppose I've seized a bit of your luck. Take this last tendril, Wong Lin said as he broke off the last tendril from the main trunk of the golden spirit root, then stored the trunk into his storage pouch for safekeeping. With a swift motion, he stepped forward, stamping his foot, and transformed into a wisp of green smoke, disappearing without a trace. Qian stood stunned, instinctively catching the drifting golden spirit root tendril. The scene before her seemed like a surreal dream, and she found it hard to believe. When she turned around, the man named Wong Lin had already vanished without a trace. Qian silently stood there for a long while, then put the golden spirit root tendril away. She walked over to her fellow disciple, gazed at them briefly, and sighed softly before transforming into a streak of light, swiftly leaving the area. Wong Lin's figure moved like lightning. Within the northern demon territory, it didn't take long before he leaped over a mountain range and ventured deep into the heart of it. There, the short elder of the great Luo sword sect sat on a giant tree, his face pale, sitting cross-legged, daring not to move. Just in front of his forehead, a curved blade hovered, seemingly motionless. Above the elder's head, an immortal sword also remained still, though its sword radiance was intense and unwavering. Friend Wang, we can talk this out. If you wish to know anything, feel free to ask. I assure you, I will answer all that I know without any falsehood. The short elder's voice was filled with helplessness. He was no match for the other party, and even his magical treasures were inferior. After escaping, Wong Lin hadn't attacked him directly, but the casual toss of 2 magical treasures had nearly driven him to madness. The flying sword was troublesome but manageable. Its solid build aside, its sword radiance was not too potent. However, its hardness was a real headache. No spell or divine ability worked on it. Were it not for the fact that he was running for his life, he would have tried to seize the flying sword for research. Compared to the flying sword, what truly horrified the short elder was the strange, unfathomable curved blade. To the elder, the curved blade felt like an ancient demon god harvesting life. Its speed was incredibly fast, and throughout the ordeal, it stayed pressed against his forehead. The sensation was akin to being strangled by an invisible hand, with death looming if the opponent so desired. With that, the short elder dared not attempt to flee. He stood still, locked in a standoff with the sword and the curved blade, waiting for Wong Lin to make his move. The elder's heart was filled with bitter regret. He regretted coming to this Earth Star with Shi Fang, as it had led him to this calamity. He no longer cared about Shi Fang's fate. All that mattered now was how he could survive. Wong Lin's gaze fixed on the elder. Several wisps of gray mist flowed slowly from his right hand as he spoke flatly. Years ago, when Sword Venerable returned from the immortal realm, was there anything unusual? I'll give you one chance. Hesitate, and you die. Fail to answer, and you die. If your answer differs from what Shi Fang said, you die. The short elder froze for a moment, but without hesitation, he blurted out, when Sword Venerable returned, a terrifying sword soul chased him through the skies. They fought for days, and eventually, the sword soul collapsed, breaking into countless pieces. Sword Venerable sealed 1/3 of it and imprisoned it deep within the Eastern Sea Demon Spirit Gate. Wong Lin's eyes flickered, and he immediately asked, what mysteries lie within the Eastern Sea Demon Spirit Gate? The short elder dared not hesitate. He quickly answered, the Eastern Sea Demon Spirit Gate is one of the 3 forbidden zones outside the Destiny Star. Control of it changes every 10,000 years. This time, it's under the control of our great Luo sword sect. There are ancient demons inside, and every 5,000 years, the gate opens. Various sects of the Destiny Star send disciples to capture the ancient demons. That's secondary. The main purpose of the Eastern Sea Demon Spirit Gate is a trial, a bloody trial. Once inside, the danger is extreme. In fact, the fewer people who emerge, the greater the rewards. The real reward is a blessing from the demon spirit empowerment of the Eastern Sea. The short elder's eyes gleamed with intense greed as he spoke. Demon spirit empowerment? Wong Lin's gaze sharpened. Yes, the demon spirit empowerment can forcefully elevate a cultivator's cultivation to a new level. If it's taken during the ascension stage, it can lower the threshold of understanding the Tao, giving you a much higher chance of reaching that realm. Of course, if you already have the ascension cultivation, the empowerment will help you progress even further. If you undergo it during the later stages of ascension, you might even break through and step into the realm of Yin and Yang, gaining an immortal body with an ageless lifespan of tens of thousands of years. The short elder's tone was filled with fervent desire. Therefore, the opening of the Demon Spirit Gate once every 5,000 years is a major event on my Destiny Star, with many participants. However, Within the Eastern Sea Demon Spirit Gate, the dangers are overwhelming. To obtain the rewards, one must pay the price. Only the most outstanding individuals can enter. Moreover, it is said that if one succeeds, only one person will eventually walk out. They will receive a reward that has never appeared before inside the Demon Spirit Gate, a complete inferior immortal art. Wong Lin remained silent for a moment, his gaze flashing. As his thoughts stirred, Su Ligua felt it, and suddenly, a faint glow emanated from the crescent blade. In an instant, it pierced through the short elder's skull, emerging from the back of his head. The short elder staggered, spitting a mouthful of blood. His eyes dimmed as he pointed at Wong Lin, slowly closing his eyes before collapsing motionless to the ground. Wong Lin summoned his right hand, and the crescent blade and immortal sword instantly returned to his storage pouch. He then vanished with a flicker. 3 incense sticks later, the short elder on the ground suddenly opened his eyes. The wound on his forehead twisted and strangely began to heal rapidly. He took a deep breath, his expression somewhat weak. He turned around and cast a venomous glare at the empty space behind him, muttering to himself, "To kill me is not so easy. The threefold soul division art I practice can extend my life 3 times. I didn't expect to use the last one today. Wong Lin, when I return to the Great Luo Sword sect, I will find a way to bring you to your doom and repay the grudge of today." His eyes flickered with cold light as his body shook and sped off into the distance. But, just as his figure moved, 2 streaks of gray mist suddenly and silently shot out from the mountain forest. They were so fast that they pierced through the air. The short elder's face changed dramatically. Without a word, he shouted, "Scatter." As the words left his mouth, a large ripple of air appeared around his body, spreading outward, trying to block the impact of the gray mist. At the same time, the short elder took a step back, his body half vanishing into the void, preparing to teleport away. But it was too late. The 2 streaks of gray mist completely ignored the air ripples, piercing right through them like wild swinging chains, directly entering the short elder's body. The elder's face turned pale, and he let out a bitter laugh. He could clearly feel the 2 gray mists spinning wildly within his body. With each rotation, a piece of his life force vanished. Wong Lin continued to traverse the depths of the northern demon territory, his body surrounded by a swirling gray mist that fluctuated in density. Especially around his right hand, several streams of gray mist twisted, darting through gaps. While flying, his expression suddenly shifted. He glanced behind him, and a cold smile appeared on his lips. After a moment, a thick mass of gray mist emerged from the forest behind Wong Lin, transforming into a gray sphere in front of him, remaining motionless. Wong Lin briefly glanced at the gray ball. With a wave of his right hand, he grabbed it from the air. When he opened his hand again, the gray sphere had completely disappeared. Wong Lin's figure shot forward like lightning, transforming into a vast expanse of gray mist as he rushed deeper into the northern demon territory. Time waits for no one. The Eastern Sea Demon Spirit Gate is the perfect place for me to cultivate the slaughter immortal art. This is one reason for my journey. Senior Zhou has done me a great favor. I, Wong Lin, will repay all kindness in my lifetime. He was sealed by Sword Venerable within the Eastern Sea Demon Spirit Gate. I need to do my best to rescue him. This is another reason for my journey. My master Tian Yunzi believes in the flow of heavenly fate and would never act without reason. He sent me on this trip to the Eastern Sea, and I must have a role to play. If I don't go, it might be contrary to the will of destiny, making it difficult for me to stand firm in the Tian Yun sect. This is the 3rd reason for my journey. I wonder if the Eastern Sea Demon Spirit Gate might hold an opportunity to encounter something related to the metal attribute. If heaven-defying reaches perfection, it could undoubtedly benefit Muin, perhaps even awakening her. Wong Lin gently touched his forehead, a trace of nostalgic tenderness flashing in his eyes. Thinking of Li Muin, Wong Lin's cold heart warmed for a moment. Li Muin was the only person to ever truly enter his heart and accompany him to Destiny Star. Muin. Wong Lin fell silent. After a while, he sighed softly and transformed into gray mist, disappearing from the spot. The deeper one went into the northern demon territory, the stronger and more dangerous the beasts became. Some of these beasts were equivalent to the ancient beasts that rivaled the cultivation of elite practitioners, and many of them existed within a 300,000-mile radius. In the last 10 days, the northern demon territory had been almost suffused with gray mist, large amounts of it rising from various places and draining away all life force. However, this gray mist never approached within the 300,000-mile radius, so it didn't attract the attention of the wild beasts. Additionally, since the mist lasted only 10 days, it dissipated without causing any significant disruptions. 10 days later, with only 6 days remaining before the arrival of the Eastern Sea Demon Spirit event, Wong Lin emerged from the Northern Demon territory. His entire demeanor had changed. He now carried a deep and concealed killing intent that had not been there days ago. His eyes glinted with a faint gray light, and particularly, between the 5 fingers of his right hand, 5 swirling gray energies rapidly spun, whirling madly through his fingers, emitting soft, whistling sounds. The sound seemed to contain some strange power that drew the attention of anyone who heard it, pulling their focus involuntarily. Slaughter Immortal Art, almost fully mastered. Wong Lin stepped out of the Northern Demon territory, his expression calm as he looked up at the sky. Transforming life force into the seal of life is no easy task. In this round of slaughter, I was only able to condense 3 parts. At that moment, a gray rune suddenly appeared on Wong Lin's forehead. The rune was simple but radiated a strong life force. The moment it appeared, it began to extend infinitely, rapidly spreading across his body from his forehead. Soon after, a second identical rune appeared, flashing briefly, and then a third one followed. In no time, all 3 runes extended, covering Wong Lin's entire body. He lowered his head and examined his body. His right hand shaped into a sword with his fingers, lightly sweeping it. Instantly, a faint friction sound could be heard from where his fingers passed, yet the finger sword did not penetrate. "See." Wong Lin raised his head and looked into the distance, a glint of decisiveness flashing in his eyes.